Every leader knows that a thriving organization depends on the energy, productivity, and commitment of its people. But few leaders are able to cultivate the employee engagement and performance needed for this level of success. What's the difference? Positive leadership practices. Welcome to the Positive Leadership Movement Podcast with your host, positive work culture expert, Alex Bratty. Ready to harness the power of positive leadership? Let's dive right in.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Positive Leadership Movement Podcast. I'm your host, Alex Bratty, and this week's episode promises to be fun and fascinating as we dive into the world of sustainability and how you can apply its principles to your organization and your teams. So not only do you not have people burning out, but they're also able to thrive and bring their very best to their work every day. Our guest today is David Goodman, and he is the chairman and CEO of Edenart Group, a company that offers the world's premier environmental sustainability certification program, the Edenart Group ISO 14001 program. And given that sustainability is about people, not just greening up a building, David and his team also built the Best You Can Be program to address the people side of sustainability, getting in front of things like workplace violence, depression, insomnia, stress, anxiety, focus, mental acuity, and physical pain. So as you can imagine, that aspect of his work really caught my eye because it's right up our positive leadership alley. And his program, Best You Can Be, is helping individuals, families, and employees of companies live happier, healthier, safer, and more productive lives. Now, of course, he didn't dream all that up overnight, right? For the last 24 years, David has served dozens of companies that are either underperforming or even redlining. And his job is to lead that company back to profitability and growth. But of course, we all know if the company is in that situation and that's happening, there always are these are stressful times, right, at these companies. And it impacts the employee health, their performance, inter-office relations, and personal relations. And it can be a really negative and difficult time. And so when he saw that, that's what made him want to find solutions to these real people issues. And so he created his Best You Can Be program. And we're going to learn all about his work and how the program helps people here today. So without further ado, let's meet David and hear more about his story and how we can be the best we can be. So welcome, David. Welcome to the show. It's so great to have you.
Thank you. And my goodness, that was a heck of a setup.
Now
you should just keep on going. I was excited.
You're like, I want to talk to that guy. Who is he? No, for real. I am fascinated with your story. I love how you had this outgrowth from what you did in your original business. And now you've got both of these things going on. So I really want to learn about this Best You Can Be program today, because it so aligns with everything that we talk about on this show. So just to get us started, because of course this is the positive leadership movement, tell us a little bit, in your mind, for you personally, what does positive leadership mean to you? What's your definition?
Let me establish the 2 points, and then I'll give the foundation for it. It is giving every person, based on who they are, the comfort that they can speak their mind, but not just once. They have to be able to be comfortable to speak their mind multiple times. In other words, coming back in your office a second time and saying, "Did you hear me?" Often organizations, they feel that if they create a foundation for employee input, whatever it is, a box or open door policy or whatever, that they can check the box off. But you're different than I am. Next person's different than us. Some people like to verbalize. Some people like to write. Some people like to hide. And if you don't create an environment where everybody in their own comfort zone can speak what they want to say, or give what they want to say, maybe they don't even want to speak it, you haven't accomplished the goal. Secondly, and I learned that, as you touched on, I've done turnarounds for over 20 years. And when you go into these companies that are underperforming, and especially in my case, because most of the companies I've turned around, I have not had prior experience in that sector. So I go into a company and the staff knows the business is failing, but they know the business. I'm the new guy. They are terrified of me because the company is going down and they think I'm there to get rid of them.
Right.
I need them to help fix it. And when I ask, well, what do you think? All those thoughts are going through their mind about how do I get out of this room as fast as possible without, without getting myself shot.
Right.
So they give a political answer and then they scoot out.
Mm-hmm.
Getting them comfortable to be able to come back in and say what they think is important.
Mm-hmm.
Giving that environment that I talked about before in whatever way they want to communicate it, but also recognizing that just because somebody says something properly doesn't mean you heard it properly. Somebody can come to me, and we're all human. I might just not be having a good day. I might be focusing on something else. I might just not understand what they're saying. So they may present it perfectly, but I just wasn't listening.
Right.
And so they go out, they think that they've done their job, things didn't happen, they're upset because he didn't agree with me, he didn't listen to me or whatever. But the fact is, I didn't hear it.
Mm-hmm.
Shame on me, but I didn't hear it.
Right.
How do I get them to not only say it the first time, but to march back in that second time and say, I really believe in this. I'm not sure I explained it to you properly the first time, or you heard me properly, or whatever. Can I tell you again? That's a
Mm.
tough one. That's a tough one. And so making sure that you tell them that repeatedly. If you believe, you came in, you spoke to me, before you leave the room, I always try to say, if you don't hear back from me, come back in. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, give them that opportunity to come back. If they really believe in it, they need to know that they can come back in and sell it again. Because, hey, we're all busy and sometimes we're just not listening or hearing
Right.
the right way.
Right. Or it may not even just be the right time as well, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
sometimes it's just not the right time for something. I love your definition. I mean, in essence, at the very core of it, it's psychological safety, right? It's the psychological safety to be able to have that feeling that like it's okay for me to say what I'm thinking and feeling here. But it's like you've taken psychological safety to another level with your second part of it, which is I can come back and say it again. And that is, unless you reassure people that they genuinely can do that, 99% aren't coming back. They're just going to
Especially,
assume that,
yeah,
well,
especially in the
whatever.
environment that I was in where
Mhm.
they're scared to begin with because
Yes.
I'm the new guy. I'm going to turn it around. They may not make the cut. Everything's going down. Oh my gosh. So
Hmm.
yeah, you really have to work hard to give them that comfort to speak
Yeah,
because you need them.
exactly. Exactly. So tell us about your company. Tell us about Eden Art Group, what it does, and, of course, why is that important, what you're doing?
So it's a long statement in terms of what we do. We provide the world's premier environmental sustainability certification program for small to mid-sized business. Now let's explain that. Small to mid-sized business is a business that is not home-based. I can't certify a home-based business, but any non-home-based business from literally startup up to $1 billion B.
Hmm.
And that would even include divisions or branches or field locations of even bigger organizations. Good example, McDonald's. We would both agree that McDonald's is over $1 billion in size,
Mm-hmm.
but their restaurants aren't. The
Mm-hmm.
big banks are bigger than that, but their branches aren't, and on and on
Right.
it goes. So,
Mm-hmm.
so we can certify any business as long as the facility that they're in is under $1 billion. And frankly, we can certify any business, but we can't certify them under our special program that's faster and less expensive. And that was built for small to mid-sized business. So
Gotcha.
the second part of this is, well, okay, so what? Who cares? Why would it matter?
Right.
Um, Certified, sustainable, small to mid-sized businesses under a globally credible program, and actually our program is the biggest and the best in the world, and then promote it, wave that flag and say we're a good corporate citizen, they're growing 20 times faster than their non-certified peers. Because you and
Mm.
I as consumers, B2B, B2C, you and I as consumers want to purchase from certified sustainable businesses. We want
Mm-hmm.
to give business to good corporate citizens. So if we find them, and as long as their pricing is not so dramatically different, as long as they're within the same realm as the competitive pool that they're in,
Mm-hmm.
we will move our business to a certified sustainable business.
Right, right. It's kind of like a demonstration of corporate responsibility, essentially, right? Or, good citizenship in the business world, essentially.
87% of us as consumers want our vendors to be certified sustainable. We want to know that the businesses that we're buying our goods and services from are good corporate citizens, and this standard provides that. If a company would just say it was sustainable,
Mm-hmm.
we don't believe it. It's just like the advertising world
Right,
has created a skepticism among us. My toothpaste gives you the whitest white. Well,
right.
so unless
Exactly.
you have a third party validation, a certification, a standard that's recognized around the world that tells everybody yes they are,
Mhm.
we don't believe. But once the company has that, then the impact is dramatic.
Yeah. Wow. And it's really a stunning statistic that you have in terms of how much better they perform once they have that and people genuinely want it. I love that. It's so great. And so tell us about the other part of your business though, right? And I love how the connection is built here because yes, you're focused on sustainability of the business, of a building, et cetera. But as we noted in the intro there, sustainability applies to people. And it's so true, right? If we burn out our people, if we don't build an environment in which, the way they operate is sustainable, we're going to have problems. And so tell us about this other side of your business that you developed, this Be the Best You Can Be program.
So, one of the failures of let's call this the green industry, be it green, alternative energy, sustainability, is that we've done a very poor job of defining those segments so that outsiders, the general population of the world, sort of lumps it all together. And when a person says environmental sustainability, most people will think of building related things,
Mm-hmm.
LEDs, solar,
Yep.
energy reduction. And that is part of what we do. Actually, to certify a business, which happens to be in a building, remember, we can't certify a home-based business, and there's a reason that business has to be in a commercial setting, and we must lower their energy usage, i.e., their electric bill and other energy uses that they have. We must do
Mm-hmm.
that to certify them. But sustainability, as you touched on, is about us. It's about us not consuming all of the resources and having our kids have something left. So sustainability is much, much broader than just that building and the energy of that building. It's the people in the building. It is the businesses in the building. It's waste, it's water, it's community service. It's us. So if we start with that, then we recognize that for almost all companies, their biggest cost, their biggest time commitment, their biggest issue is their people. And if you're talking about helping a business become sustainable, if you don't address the elephant in the room, which is the employees of that company, and helping them perform better, become healthier, happier, you're not a real sustainability program. So, if you look across the world and you look at all these programs that say that they're sustainability programs, they may be wonderful energy reduction programs. They may be wonderful green programs, but unless they have a people piece that addresses at least the big five: insomnia, stress, anxiety, physical pain, mental acuity, unless it addresses that and helps those employees of that employer perform better, be healthier, be happier, get along better, it's not a sustainability program. So with that as a starting point, the next question is, well, why would this be of importance to the company?
Right.
And what we know is just in the United States, and the same data is in all the other advanced countries around the world. So it's not just in the United States, but we've got studies around the world with the same data. But here in the United States, the big five I just mentioned, per full-time employee, it's a $7,000 to $12,000 per year hit.
Yep.
And let's just round it to the middle: $10,000 per employee per year for every company in the United States losing that. That's 5% of our GDP as a country due to insomnia, stress, physical pain, mental acuity. So those companies that are not getting in front of this are leaving, times their employees, $10,000, a big number on the table.
Right.
So then the thing is, okay, well, how do you deal with it? So all of us, um, I can't imagine many of us, but almost all of us have dealt with stress. We've dealt with nights we couldn't sleep, and sometimes it just comes and goes. But for those people that have it regularly, where it becomes bothersome, there is that period that we all go through before we get bad enough to go to a clinic.
Right. It's got to be
And
really bad before we deal with it, right? I mean, most
right.
of us are in
So
that boat.
what do? We kick the cat, we drink more, we get into fights with our spouse. We do all those things that make it worse because there's no solutions available to us.
Right.
And the thought of going to a clinic or a hospital or something is, for most of us, just foreign and expensive, and uh, maybe an admission of failure. It's just something very few of us do. So the idea here is twofold. One is to take the solution to the company. So not making the employees leave the company, taking the solution to the company. And when you take it to the company, it's got to be in a form that doesn't take them away from the day job. I mean, you know,
Amen.
where's Jim? He's supposed to be working on the budget. Oh, he's in the back room. He's meditating. That doesn't go over well. So it has to be in a fashion to where it can be used by the employees in a way that doesn't take them away from what they're doing during the day. That's part of it. The
Right.
second part is, call it the pitch, the advertising, how we sell it. If we take all the employees into the conference room and we say, okay, everybody that is having stress, anxiety, if you're having some mental acuity problems, raise your hand. Exactly.
Yeah,
Nobody.
that's not happening. Your
Exactly.
background ain't going anywhere,
No
David. I
one is
gotcha.
going to
Right.
admit to failure, to weakness, to a problem in front of their bosses
Exactly.
or their peers.
Or each other. Yes.
That's right. But if you have those people in the conference room and you say, who wants to get faster? Who wants to win next month's sales contest? Who wants to perform better during the day so that they don't have to work on the weekend, they get all their work done? Who just wants to be better than they were? Oh, well, yeah, I want to be better. I want my boss to think that I want to be better. So
Yeah.
we're solving the problems that I mentioned before, but the presentation and how we go about it and everything we do is positive reinforcement and performance enhancement. You are where you are. Let's see if we can get better.
And this is sorry to interrupt you. I just want to sort of punctuate for a moment what you're saying there, because this is why when I saw your program, and I want to hear more about it, I want to hear about the different things that you do, but it was so appealing to me because it so lives in this world of positive leadership, of positive psychology, because instead of trying to fix problems, right, and get people to admit to problems, it's like, we don't need to actually do that. We don't need to have that conversation. I mean, we can, but we don't need to. Instead, we can focus on the positive here. Let's focus on, whether it's performance, whether it is, using your strengths more. I mean, whatever it is, you can come at these things from a positive angle. And to your point, not only are they better received, but they have a lot better results too, because no longer are we fixing problems. We're just making people better than they were. Not better as in they were sick, just they are now doing better, So that's why I just love what you've got going on here. Okay, so sorry for the interruption.
No.
Tell us about the program itself and some of the things then that you have people do, so that, to your point, and very welcome, I'm sure, from the employers, it's not like they're taken away from their day job. It all gets rolled into what they're doing and still has all this great impact.
Right. So simply stated, we've got supplements and we've got technology. And each of these can stand alone. The individual, the employee, or the family member will take a questionnaire, actually a series of questionnaires, and based on their answers to these questionnaires, we have a starting point in terms of where we're going. Supplements can dramatically help them. The products can dramatically help them. When you combine the two, the benefit is significantly greater. Now let's supplements you know about, but let me show you what I'm talking about when I talk about products. Okay, so at the reception desk, there are a number of these items that a person can come up, check out, go back to their desk, sit back down, or go back to the assembly floor, whatever. This is one. Looks like a heating pad. You put it in your chair, and you go back to work.
Oh, cool.
Let me show you another.
So for those of you who are just listening, David is he's clipping a device onto both of his earlobes, and he's got a little device it's hooked up to. And tell us what that is for, David.
Sorry?
Oh, I was just explaining what you're doing. So you hooked because some people are just listening. So you hooked a device basically onto both your earlobes, and then the wires were connected to a little device. So what
A little box that's battery charged, and that box can sit on your desk. It's I hate to use this analogy, but it's about the size of a pack of cigarettes, even though we don't want to talk about cigarettes. But it's a small box that can either go into a breast pocket or sit on the desk. You turn it on, you go back to work, you forget all about it. 15, 20 minutes later, you take it back to reception desk and turn it back in. We have another product that you.
And what is it doing though? Tell us what is it? So you turn it on, but what's it actually doing for you?
Okay, so this product uses, for lack of a better phraseology, your electrical current in your body, and it helps your body basically get into balance. The thing the heating pad is called a fractal pad, and it does a similar thing within basically your body's metabolism. All right. This product that you put on your finger.
Oh, it looks like a pulse oximeter. For people who aren't watching, those devices that became household products during COVID, where you put it on your finger to get your oxygen level and make sure you don't have COVID. That's what it looks like David has on his finger right now.
So this is a heart rate variability, HRV product, and you run the program off of your cell phone. And the best way I can describe it is it's like a game, okay? And it allows you to control your breathing and get in sync with your breathing and your heart rate. That product gives you a score. And so it is an accurate third-party score versus your self-analysis of how you feel. I mean, if you use some of these products and then tomorrow I asked you, well, how'd you sleep last night? I don't know. I was asleep. I don't know how I slept last night. Now, over the course of time, you can probably give an answer, but in a short period, it's hard to evaluate progress in anything. You go to the gym, it takes you a while to feel like you're actually making progress. Same thing here. But with the heart rate variability product I was mentioning, that gives you an actual score which you can build on. You can see your progress. So we use these tools and a combination of these tools. As you are progressing through the program, we start you off on one and you use it for a few weeks, and then based on your questionnaire, we move you to another one and another one. Now you can go to reception and you can check out any you want, but we like to keep you on a schedule. And then if you are using the supplements in combination, then we have you going on that too. So in effect, you are going to work. You are working just like normal. You're adding some supplements to your daily regimen, and you are using these products while you're sitting at your desk or doing your regular work, and you will feel better.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And certainly that the device you have with the earlobes and also the heart rate variability. I mean, a lot of this, there's a lot of science behind what you're describing here, because essentially it's bringing coherence back to your brain and your heart and how you're breathing and all of that. Like, if we're kind of, a lot of us are so stressed all the time that we live in what's called survival mode. Like, we're just constantly on alert and we don't even realize it. We don't even realize we're shallow breathing. And when you do that over a prolonged period of time, it has obviously detrimental physical impact, but it absolutely, to your point, affects sleep, affects mental acuity, affects our performance at work. And so just by doing this, using the products you described and doing these very simple things of just like realigning what's actually happening physically for ourselves and our body, actually it completely helps us mentally, emotionally, and obviously the whole end product from a work perspective is that we do perform better. So I love it. I love how you've made it simple for these companies and for the people who are working in them to actually access this science and be able to implement it. It's fantastic.
These products are, in every case, many years old, in some cases decades old,
Mm-hmm.
thousands and thousands of applications around the world, success rates extremely high, and so we're not creating new technology here. We're
Right.
using, frankly, in many cases, very old technology, technology that's been approved, been around, used in hospitals, used in clinics. We're just taking it into a different environment, taking it to the people, and getting to the people before they've crashed.
Yep.
This helps them feel better, perform better without having to go to a clinic when they have no other alternative.
Yeah, I love it. I absolutely love it. So, how do you how do you get these businesses sort of interested in the best you can be program? Because I'm just thinking, look, if I hired you to do the sustainability certification for my business, it might not necessarily be like an obvious leap in my mind. As the business owner who was just thinking about, greening my business and getting that certification, that you, David, would offer this whole piece for my people. So how do you bridge that gap, David?
Um, we have failed miserably. So
I don't think so. You were giving me a little sneak peek on that earlier. So
so
tell the audience,
yeah.
because I love it.
So we're unique in three ways. The first piece that we're unique in is our design and price for small businesses we touched on.
Hmm.
The second place where we're unique is the promotion of that certification to drive client sales and revenue.
Hmm.
That is just not done anywhere else in the world. Everybody else that's in the green space, sustainability space, they're all on the cost reduction side of a company's P&L. In other words, give me a bag of money, I'll buy some LEDs and I'll lower your energy bill.
Hmm.
We're the guys that are out there. We're doing that, but then we're also waving the flag and helping the company raise their sales.
Hmm.
So that right there, taking a company from just thinking about energy reduction to also thinking about sales growth by using the certification as a promotional tool is a big difference. It's also a different department, because when you're talking about cost reduction, you're usually talking to the CFO and the operations people, the facility
Right.
managers. When you're
Hmm.
talking about sales, you're talking about the sales department and the marketing department.
Yep.
So when you bridge those two, that right there is a big step for the company. Now, to your question, when you also add in the people piece, you're bringing in mostly the HR department, and you're talking
Hmm.
about the personnel. So when you put all these three together, you're talking about different topics that few in the organization other than the CEO and maybe a COO regularly think about.
Right.
So our experience has been, when we're talking to people about the sustainability program, it is hard enough to explain the the performance side, the revenue side, the
Right.
promotional side. We do not even bring up the best you can be program.
Hmm.
We wait until the client is signed up. We're starting to work with them on the sustainability proper. And then we say, oh, by the way, we have some products we'd like you to just try. And we send these things that I showed you to the senior executives. We explain how to use them. We have them use them for a few weeks. And we say, look, if you feel better, if it's working for you, then let's talk about it for your staff. If not, not a problem, send it back. So far, we've
Great.
100% of the time we've had good conversations, but that's the only way we've found, given where we are, where we're so far ahead of everybody else, that bridging those three, if
Mhm.
you will, organizational departments
Right.
is tough.
Yeah. But I love your strategy because it's kind of the classic don't tell me, show me, right? It's like, try it. It
Yeah.
worked. I feel good. Yeah, I'll take these products. Yeah, we'll share them with our staff. So,
Mhm.
yeah, I love that. And here again, even with your sustainability piece, I mean, you're really taking a positive psychology lens to that. It may not feel like that to you, but I'm a positive psychology nerd. And so as I listen to how you're describing your business, I can so clearly see that because, the whole thing about positive psychology is that psychology in general tries to fix problems. And to your point, that's what a lot of the sustainability is viewed as, right? Like, let's just buy some LED bulbs and we'll reduce costs. However, reducing costs is not the same as increasing sales and profit, right? And that's where positive psychology will also say, yeah, helping you get better, like get back to some kind of equilibrium, is not the same thing as actually thriving in your life. Those are two separate things. And so, even your sustainability piece for the business itself kind of has that approach. And I just love that. And then, of course, you have this whole best you can be program as well. So fantastic. I love it. I love what you're
Thank
doing.
you. Thank you.
Yeah. And you're clearly helping so many people. So thank you for being here today, not only to just share what you do, but also to really demonstrate too, like some of the things that can help people. Because very often, we'll talk about people, they have to do various exercises, whether those are mental things or, emotional things or whatever. But what you're actually describing is, hey, I can plug in this little device on my earlobes and it'll actually help me just sort of realign myself and realign my energy and help me perform better, which for some people is much more attractive than having to do some of these other things that, people will talk about. So I
And
love it.
and as you know, just like in anything, exercising, it's hard to get started, but once you've started, you keep going. So one of the
Exactly.
things that this program does is it gets the person going.
Mhm.
Then what we see is later on, yes, then they start exercising more. Yes, they start eating better. All the other things sort of fall into place because, frankly, that heaviness that's on them has been lifted and they're starting to feel better. And when you feel better, you start doing more good things.
Exactly. Yes, it's an upward spiral. Exactly. I love it. I love it. And I mean, we've barely scratched the surface here today. So I know that people are gonna get in touch with you, learn more about what you do. Some people might be even thinking, geez, I need this guy to come into my business. And whether it's the sustainability certification or the Best You Can Be program or both, whatever it is. So how can people connect with you? And I think you also have a couple of free offers to share too, right?
Yeah, so the website is edenark.com. That's Edenark, like Garden of Eden and Noah's Ark, edenark.com. And if they go to that website, they will see both the sustainability side. They'll see the Best You Can Be program, which is a part of it, and there's all our information to contact us and to find us. Now, in terms of the offer, we are happy to give a free review of a company on the entire sustainability analysis, to take a look at a company and give a recommendation on how we can help a company. Same with an individual. If an individual would like us to help them go through the best program with just an overview of how to get them started, happy to do that for free.
Awesome. Thank you so much. That's wonderful. So you heard him. He's got some pretty cool free offers. Be sure to take him up on that. So thank you again, David, for being on the show and sharing what you do, and also, sharing how simple some of this stuff can be too. As you said, just get the path started and start moving in that more positive direction in your life. So thank you so much. And I want to thank you, our listeners, for joining us for another episode. This show would not exist without you. And so I'm always, always grateful for you. If you have positive leadership stories to share, you have questions about this topic, you have questions for David, maybe you didn't write down his email or his website fast enough and you just want to get connected to him, whatever it is, just shoot me a line at questions@positiveleadershipmovement.com. I always love to hear from you. All right, that's it for this week. This is Alex Bratty signing out and thanking you for being part of the positive leadership movement and inspiring me to do what I do every single day.
Make sure you subscribe to the show. If you like this episode, please rate and review. If you want to get more from Alex, check out Happiness at Work, where she provides leaders with a proven path to cultivate a positive work culture that increases performance, productivity, and profitability. Go to happinessatworknow.com. Join us next week and harness the power of positive leadership for your organization.